My name is Evelyn May Parker, and I am 103 years old. What I am about to share might just make every modern diet guru shake their head. But the truth is, I have eaten the exact same 4 foods every single day for the past 4 decades. I know it sounds crazy in today's world of endless diet fads, macro tracking apps, and exotic superfood trends. Over the years, I've had plenty of well-meaning experts sit me down, look at my charts, and tell me my daily menu was completely wrong. Back in the 1980s, my old physician, Dr. Harrison, practically begged me to change my ways, handing me a strict list of low-fat, approved foods to follow. Well, bless his heart, but Dr. Harrison has been resting in peace for over 20 years now, and I'm still right here, thriving and eating my same old meals. Sometimes the experts just overcomplicate what our bodies actually need. So, what exactly is on this unchanging menu of mine? Let's start with food number 1. 3 whole eggs, fried in real butter, every single morning. And when I say whole eggs, I mean the whole thing, yolk and all. For decades, I watched the health trends swing back and forth. In the 80s and 90s, everyone was suddenly terrified of dietary cholesterol. People were tossing out the yolks, buying those little cartons of liquid egg whites, and acting like a simple, traditional breakfast was somehow a danger to society. To me, eating just the egg white and throwing away the yolk is like buying a beautiful new car and tossing out the engine. The yolk is where all the good stuff is. It's the energy, the vitamins, the very thing that gives the egg its life and purpose. And I don't cook them in those chemical cooking sprays or artificial margarines either. I use real, old-fashioned butter, just like my mother and grandmother used to do. It tastes like actual food, it keeps me full, and it gives me the energy I need to get out to my garden. Folks used to warn me that eating like this was a gamble, that I needed to switch to dry toast and plain cereals. But I just kept making my breakfast my way. Here I am at 103, still enjoying my eggs every morning, feeling strong and sharp. It's simple, it's real, and it works perfectly for me. Food number 2 on my daily plate is good old-fashioned ground beef. I eat about a pound of it every single day, usually an 80/20 blend. That's 80% lean and 20% fat. I cook it the absolute simplest way possible, just browned up in my trusty cast iron skillet with a good pinch of sea salt. No fancy marinades, no heavy sauces, and no complicated recipes requiring 40 different ingredients from across the globe. Just beef and salt. For years, I've heard the endless warnings on the television. Experts told me to cut back on red meat, claiming it was the ultimate enemy of good health and longevity. They pushed highly processed alternatives and boxed cereals with bright cartoon characters on them, promising that was the real secret to feeling young and energetic. But I looked at my own family history instead. My mother ate beef her entire life, and her mother before her did the exact same thing. They were incredibly strong, capable women who worked hard from dawn to dusk and lived long, vibrant lives. I simply decided to stick with what kept my ancestors thriving. To me, a cow is practically a miracle of nature. It takes sunshine, soil, and simple green grass and turns it into pure, nutrient-dense energy. When you eat a good portion of beef, you're getting exactly what your body is begging for as you get older: iron, essential B vitamins, zinc, and high-quality protein to keep your muscles strong. It's all the vital stuff folks nowadays try to buy in expensive little supplement bottles. When folks ask how I still have the stamina to walk my neighborhood at 103, I point straight to my skillet. Let's move on to food number 3, the humble, misunderstood potato. Specifically, I eat 6 small red potatoes every single day, simply boiled right on the stove with their skins left on. I remember back in the late 90s when suddenly everybody decided that carbohydrates were the ultimate enemy. People started treating a basic potato like it was a dietary hazard, trading it in for complicated, expensive, low-carb substitutes that tasted like cardboard. But you know what a potato really is? It is pure, honest energy straight from the earth. It is the exact same reliable food that kept my family going through the hardest, leanest years of the Great Depression when we barely had a dime to our names. It fueled a whole generation of hard-working folks. Nowadays, people seem so terrified of their own food. I see folks weighing every single morsel on tiny digital scales, counting every macro, and tracking every bite on their phones like they are running a strict, stressful science experiment. I just boil my potatoes and eat them with gratitude, just like my grandmother did before she peacefully passed away at 96. And finally, food number 4 is a tall glass of rich, whole milk with my meals. I am talking about traditional, full-fat milk, the kind that actually has a thick, rich layer of cream sitting right there on the top. It tastes wonderful, it fills you up, and it is naturally packed with the vitamins and healthy fats that our bodies crave as we age. Today, if you go to the modern grocery store, you'll see they have stripped all the natural goodness out of it, turning it into what I like to call expensive whitewater. They separate it, skim it, and process it until it barely resembles what naturally comes from a cow. I grew up drinking wholesome, traditional milk in the 1920s. It was a daily staple in every farmhouse kitchen back then, providing simple, honest nourishment without a second thought. Together, these 4 foods, eggs, beef, potatoes, and whole milk, give me absolutely everything I need to keep going strong at 103. Let me tell you something about eating the exact same 4 foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner day in and day out. People always ask me, "Evelyn, aren't you just terribly bored eating like that?" And I always look them right in the eye and give them the exact same answer. Bored? I am 103 years old. I can still walk around my own neighborhood. I think clearly, and I take care of myself without anyone's help. There is absolutely nothing boring about being alive, capable, and fiercely independent. You want to know what I think is truly boring? Spending your golden years sitting in sterile waiting rooms, needing a dozen different prescription medications just to get through a single afternoon, and feeling too utterly exhausted to play with your own great-grandchildren. We have been sold this grand, profitable lie that we need endless variety to be healthy, that we need 47 different exotic superfoods shipped from the rainforest, and that our dinner plates need to look like a colorful magazine cover every single night. The honest truth is, when you simplify your food, you profoundly simplify your entire life. I do not waste a single ounce of mental energy waking up and agonizing over what I am going to cook. I do not wander down the endless aisles of the modern grocery store staring at 600 different brightly colored boxes of cereal trying to decode the tiny ingredient labels. I do not waste my hard-earned money on fancy meal delivery services or complicated apps that promise to tell you what to eat based on your DNA. I wake up, I know exactly what I am having, I enjoy my meal, and then I move on with my day. That beautiful, predictable simplicity gives me the space, the energy, and the time for the things that actually matter in this world. It gives me time to tend to my garden, time to sit on the porch and really listen, and time to visit with my neighbors. Today, people are drowning in a sea of dietary choices, constantly trying to optimize something that never needed optimizing in the first place. You do not need to reinvent your diet every 5 years. You just need to find the simple, honest foods that fuel your body, eat them, and use the rest of your precious time to actually live. Now, I am going to tell you something that might surprise you after all this talk about eggs and potatoes. The food is only half of the equation. You could eat my exact meals every single day, but if your spirit is rotten, you are still going to get sick. I saw it happen with a neighbor of mine, a fellow named Walter, back in the 80s. Walter read every health book, exercised daily, and did everything right by the book. Yet, he passed away at 68. It wasn't his diet that failed him. Walter spent 40 long years furiously angry at his own brother over some silly inheritance dispute. He carried that deep, bitter resentment around every single day like a heavy backpack full of rocks. That kind of chronic hatred is a poison, and it will eat you up from the inside out no matter how perfectly you eat. If you want to make it to 103, you have to let go of the anger. You must forgive people, not because they necessarily deserve your forgiveness, but because you deserve peace in your own heart. I carried a lot of anger toward my mother for decades. She was a cold, hard woman when things got tough. When I finally forgave her, nothing changed about the past, but the heavy weight I carried simply vanished. I was free. You also need real connection. You need flesh and blood people to love. Not digital followers on a computer screen, but real people who sit quietly with you when you are terrified and tell you the truth when you act like a fool. You need a solid reason to get out of bed at 5:30 in the morning. For me, it is a garden that needs tending and a great-granddaughter who calls me every Tuesday. And you absolutely must know how to laugh, even when your heart is breaking. When I buried my beloved husband Arthur 10 years ago, I was sitting at my kitchen table sobbing. My granddaughter walked in, heartbroken for me. I looked up and said, "Well, your grandfather always told me I would be lost without him. Turns out the stubborn old mule was right." We laughed, cried, and laughed again. That resilience is the true secret. I am 103 years old now. I know I do not have much time left on this earth. It could be a year, it could be a month, or it could be tomorrow afternoon. So I am going to tell you something straight, and I hope you listen closely. You are wasting your life. And you are not wasting it just because you are eating the wrong foods, though you probably are. You are wasting it because you are constantly waiting. You are waiting to be perfectly healthy before you start truly living. You are waiting to have a little more money in the bank before you take that trip. You are waiting to lose 10 pounds before you let yourself be happy. You are waiting for someday. Let me tell you a hard truth about someday. It does not exist. I had a dear friend named Betty. She was a good, hard-working woman who worked at the telephone company with me back in the 1960s. Betty always talked about retiring and moving out to the coast. She wanted to open a little bakery and make fresh pies every single day. "Just 10 more years, Evelyn," she would say to me. "Then I am really going to start living." You know where Betty is today? She passed away at 62. Just 2 years short of her retirement. She never made it to the coast, and she never baked those pies. She spent 40 years of her life simply waiting to live. Please, whatever you do, do not be Betty. I have lived through 2 world wars and watched 18 presidents take office. I have seen the world change in ways I never could have imagined. But the truth of the human experience never changes. Your body needs real, simple food. Your heart needs genuine connection. Your soul needs a quiet purpose. Everything else, the complicated diet books, the expensive supplements, the endless life hacks, is just noise. Eat your 4 foods, love your people fiercely, forgive your enemies, and for heaven's sake, stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no secret hack to a good life. There is just real food, real love, and real presence. Now, go fry up your eggs and call your mother. Evelyn May Parker, 103 years old. Still here, still kicking, and still eating my eggs.